everyone, and welcome to another episode of Aussie Tech Heads. It is episode 578, 4th of April 2018, and hopefully we'll be staying away from any April Fool stories. I think we weeded them out. There wasn't much to choose from this week anyway. I think everyone's pretty quiet with those. But yes, we are brought to you by athwebhosting.com.au. All your hosting needs, go and give us a look at SSL certificates, Aussie support, which is probably the main thing. If you've got a problem, you can ring me or send a support ticket, and at least I can point you in the right direction and tell you the free way of doing things, at least. All right, so what else? We've got a pretty good show for you this week. We're going to have a bit of a chat. We've got probably less stories, but that also that'll just open up a lot more room for, a bit of chit-chat. So let's see how we go. The shows to look out for is the Aussie Mac Zone, the Aussie Tech Crypto, which is going gangbusters, and another show that's joined up and is in episode 7 and continuing is My Tech Opinion. Now, you might see this on the iTunes, if you're lucky, which you will. So go searching for that. And it's from Shane. So remember Shane, who used to be on the show? So he's teamed up with Phil Edwards, and he's going to bring you My Tech Opinion, a program that takes a longer look at what's happening in the world of tech. So each episode, Shane and Phil take a brief look at the latest in tech news and then take a deep dive into a certain topic that they wish to talk about. So have a listen to that. Search it up, My Tech Opinion. And, go and give that a shot. And it's also on the Aussie Tech Radio, which is sort of like a radio station, 24/7, wall-to-wall, just repeats. So, like, if you listen to it every day, you probably will get the same shows twice, but new shows every Friday, so that's a good thing. And you can get that at aussietechradio.com or on the TuneIn Radio app. Just search for Aussie Tech Radio, and Bob is your uncle. Now, or most of the time. Now, at Aussie Tech News, at Aussie Tech Heads, at Glenn Goodman, at Warlock, and I'm not sure if Jordan's got one. I don't think he has, but we'll ask him in a second. And hashtag Oz Tech Heads if you feel the need. YouTube.com/Aussie Tech Heads and Facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads. And speaking of getting into contact with people and asking them what's going on, let's connect with Jordan. How you going, Jordan?
I'm good, mate.
That's good. Have you got a Twitter handle? I don't think you do. Is this true?
No, I've never had one.
No?
I used to have one years ago when it first came out, and everyone's like, "You doing Twitter?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, whatever." And I went and had a look at it, and then I think I registered something, and then I probably got followers I don't know about, but I haven't signed in there in years.
Yeah, I've signed in. I get a little messy every time.
It's not like your Outlook email, is it? Whereas if you don't sign in for a month, they close your account on you.
Oh, do they? Oh, nasty. Good old Microsoft.
Well, they used to, the old Hotmail years ago.
Oh, I think I do remember that now, coming back to me. And speaking of using Twitter, Jace, how you doing, Jace?
Yeah, I've only made about 53.4 thousand tweets, looks like.
And one of those was to me the other night about the birthday of the mobile phone or something.
Yeah, how about that?
Yeah,
I think the only good April Fool's joke that I saw that was actually a bit funny was the company I go through for my internet, Aussie Broadband, said from now on we're only going to be accepting Bitcoin and nothing else. And I posted on there, I said, come on guys, you should be accepting Australia coin, which is the one that we're promoting.
that would have been that would have been funnier if they had posted that. We're only now Aussie Broadband. We're only now accepting Australia coin. That would have been funny. Yeah. That would have been good.
Not Aussie coin. That's Oz coin.
They should just fork their business to Australia Broadband.
Yeah. Now,
same as the coin. Why not?
Yeah, Jordan, you don't sound as deep tonight or this week. What's going on?
I've been putting on a deep voice the last couple of weeks.
Well, I think it was.
I thought this week I might put on a little bit of a higher voice for something different.
I think it was one of the comments we got from Paul. Remember, I spoke about Paul from Toowoomba the other week. He got in contact with me and he was saying that Jordan was a bit softer and a bit all this blah, blah, blah. So we sort of took a bit of a dive into some audio issues there. And, we nutted out. And apparently Jordan's audio was going around and around or something. And it was creating a deeper voice for him. And then
a deeper, more sensual voice for myself to use on the show.
He thought it was Barry White.
Yes, or John Laws.
My darling,
Now, when
he can do it too. He's a singer. He can do Barry
White. Enough for your love, babe.
Oh, how good's that? Now,
there you go.
So we found that part of the problem, and so we fixed it. So so when I said, "Who are you?" Yeah, you sound so different. I thought you were someone else. And so look. I got a question from a listener, Chris, down in there in Canberra. He's just got these NBN connected, and he went through. I forget now what he said, but he went through my net phone. That's right, and so they sent him a modem. And they sent him a Huawei modem. And I went, oh, that's good, Huawei with all the Chinese backdoors. You won't be getting spied on. You'll be right. But anyway, so he did a bit of looking into this modem, and apparently, it was pretty much locked down, not with the original software from the Huawei, but there was things like you can't change the time, you can't change, I think, remote access port or turn it off. It's just on by default and all this sort of jargon. So I just wanted to know, if you guys have got NBN, you guys have got modems, and do you know if yours are locked down or not? Jace, do you know if yours is locked down?
Mine's a Asus R7000 Nighthawk, and it's not locked down, but the Netgear software operating system that runs on it was terrible, it turned out. I had no idea that my Wi-Fi kept dropping out, was losing packets, all sorts of crazy stuff. And I thought it was my previous internet supplier. I went to the new one. And I was like, oh, you guys are even worse. What's going on? And then I did a bit of Googling around, and I found out that, the firmware that comes with it is terrible. They don't know what they're doing. So I was found on a website, it might have even been Whirlpool, where people were saying you need to install the XWRT Vortex.
Oh, yes.
Or Asus WRT Merlin firmware for the Netgear R7000. And I was hesitant because I was like, well, if this bricks it, then I'm going to have to buy another modem. But then Will pointed out if it didn't brick it, I was going to have to buy another modem anyway because of the Wi-Fi problems I was having. So I went, all right, so I went and installed it, and my Wi-Fi has been flawless ever since. I had the Ethernet over power plugs, one in this room here where I am, and one in the lounge room where the actual NBN modem is, just so I could get a decent speed. I had normal Wi-Fi cards and all sorts of things, and nothing was working properly. So I went, I'm going to try the Ethernet over power, and it worked. It was really good, but ever since I put this new firmware on there, I haven't needed it. So those Ethernet over power adapters are just sitting in the garage now in a cupboard because I don't need them because the Wi-Fi is rock solid.
Yeah, right.
It gives extra features that you didn't have before. It gives you graphs and logging, and you can hook up to things like the Open DNS, so you can, if you've got kids, you can block drugs or alcohol or porn and all this sort of stuff. And it's just really, really good. So I'm glad that I changed. But it's not locked down at all because I just went and bought an Asus one. I didn't use one supplied by any of the ISPs. And I don't go for the Optus or Telstra, Vodafone, TPG, any of these ISPs anyway. TPG would be all right because they don't lock theirs down, but Telstra and probably Optus tend to lock their things down. Just get a generic, the Asus R7000. It's you have to make sure that the type of internet you've got. Mine's fiber to the premises, so I can plug that in there. Some of them you need a modem and the router.
Right.
But I don't need that. I just need the R7000, and away it goes. It's brilliant.
Yeah, I went to someone's place the other day to do an internet connection, and Telstra sent them a new modem, but they sent them two things: the modem and a router. They changed from one box to two boxes. That was a bit weird, but so that's good. That's a lot of good info there. I think, what was that software called that you put on there? Onto the
if you go to XVTX, so X-ray Victor Tango X-ray .ru.
Because I know there was ages ago. I ended up putting some new modem software, some open source software onto one of my old modems, and it made it work so much better. That was great.
So this one's just called Asus WRT Merlin. So if you search for that, you'll find it really easy.
And so that's got the NBN sockets to plug and go and all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
Oh, another thing actually that might throw a spanner in the works. It was a VoIP modem. So
okay.
Yeah, so that might be a little bit different, but I'm sure you could find something that you go to look at that site anyway.
That's the problem I have with the Telstra one, is that because they are kind of locked down to a point with the Telstra ones, but only because of that the voice, the VoIP lines and stuff. Like if you were to bridge your modem, which is ultimately the best way to go, I reckon, is just to bridge it and use another router. You lose your voice modem, so you've got no phone. That's kind of where I got stuck.
Yeah.
So
right.
now I'm running a dual NAT, so double NAT. So
I think there's ways.
I
There's ways to try and get through life with another modem, and that's just get some other software. So Chris, that might give you a bit of a heads up, hopefully. And
if that's too hard though, bridging it is just bridge the modem.
But I think that might have issues with the VoIP. I remember now that he had some VoIP issues as well.
It depends too, because I was just did a quick search for that, and it says the modem I've got doesn't have native VoIP settings, but you can do VoIP calls if you get a VoIP compatible phone, plug it into the Ethernet port on the LAN side of the Netgear router.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, there you go.
But if you can't bridge it, you just dual NAT it and just open everything up from. So don't use the functions of your actual modem as a router. Don't use it as a router. Just run as if you've got one computer plugged into it. So plug your second router into your modem and then do everything in your normal router, and any ports you want to open or anything like that, just point them all to that other router and then plug everything into that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah. So that's
dual NAT.
Yeah, that's a couple of ideas. But yeah,
that's how I do it. And I can't speak highly enough for PF Sense.
Yeah, okay.
I reckon that thing rocks. So I almost refuse to use any other modem because of it.
Yeah, I know. I've got a Netgear, probably be 2 years old now. I've Netgear something or other. You probably see it behind me if you look hard. Maybe not, but it's just a little. It's like a little router thing, and yeah, they just don't work properly. I think I had a modem as well, and I spent half a day trying to get that thing to bridge across to my Telstra one, and I even blame Telstra.
And you know
those modem.
You know those modems are made with the pissiest of components. Like they're not very, they don't have a lot of RAM or anything in them, or a lot of much in them.
Yeah,
and that's kind of why I like the PF Sense. You can sort of build something that's really gutsy, that's going to handle all the talk of all your network if you've got a busy network, and take the pressure off the modem. Just let the modem deal with just the internet through, and let all your private network stuff be dealt with something a bit more gutsy.
Now,
it's amazing what a good router or a good modem will do for your network or your internet speed,
Yeah, well, I think I might have a little issue as well, because my little FreeNAS keeps dropping off the network for some reason, and it will drop off and then it'll come back on like intermittently, and I'm sick of
not Wi-Fi, is it?
No, I'm sick of just turning it off, like just cold off, and so what I do is now I just sort of keep going. Wait, or refresh till I see it, and when it comes back up for that whatever short period of time, I just go reboot. Once it reboots, it's good for another week, but then it dies again.
That sounds like it's a problem with the FreeNAS. It doesn't sound like it's a problem with you.
Yeah, I think the only thing I can find in the forums and everything is that it could be an issue with a dodgy NIC or a dodgy LAN cable or something on the network's dodgy, and it must be just throwing it out. But
to me, it sounds like it could even just be software. It could be the FreeNAS just dropping off.
Well, I reckon that could be it, because I do have another problem with the FreeNAS as well. I updated it to version 11.1 U4 or something, but it won't boot into that version, even though I've set it to on next boot into that version, and then my SMB keeps turning off. So, I'll figure it out. So have
a tinker with Open Media Vault, mate. Get another computer and plug it in and have a crack.
Oh yeah. One day,
just have a tinker with. Just set it up as a secondary one, just for a bit of spare time fun.
Yeah,
when you got nothing else to do.
Yeah,
you got nothing else to do.
Oh, I can't wait. Now, look, Jace, you were through the week. You posted something on the Facebook page about some DNS name servers.
Yeah.
What was that? Can you enlighten us what that was about, please?
Have you put it in the show notes?
No. Well, I'll just briefly. It was just.
Okay.
It was.
So yeah, I think it was Cloudflare have registered 1.1.1.1 as a DNS server address.
Yep.
And they've agreed that they're going to filter all of the stuff that goes through there, because a lot of people have used it for other testing purposes and things. But it's supposed to be a much faster and also more secure, privacy-wise DNS server So they recommend changing all of your routers and mobile phones and whatever you've got to 1.1.1.1. It'll should help web pages be served faster because your computer will be able to get the IP address of where it is a lot sooner, but it should also help with some privacy.
Yeah, because I think they said that they also promised to delete all the logs within 24 hours, and each 24 hours. So I think with the Google public DNS servers, they retain the logs. Now, I can't show you. I think the secondary one is 1.0.0.1, I think, from memory. Yep. But just look for the Cloudflare post on the Aussie Tech Heads Facebook page. You'll find it. And so, look, I've just, while I've been speaking about it, I've just downloaded the DNS benchmark from Steve Gibson's website at the grc.com. And so I'm running it now. And look, it's not coming up number one, but and neither is Google, I guess. There's a few other ones coming up. Some people in North America. That's interesting. But I might have to look further into that. Can I go slowest?
One of the things they've got on the Cloudflare website is the problem is the DNS services often are slow and not privacy respecting. What many internet users don't realize that even if you're visiting a website that's encrypted, has a little green lock on your browser or whatever, that doesn't keep your DNS resolver from knowing the identity of the sites you visit. That means by default, your ISP, every Wi-Fi network you've connected to, and your mobile network provider have a list of every site you visited while using them. Network operators have been licking their chops for some time over the idea of taking the user's browsing data and finding a way to monetize it. In the United States, that got easier a year ago when the Senate voted to eliminate rules that restricted ISPs from selling users' browser data. With all the concern over the data that companies like Facebook and Google are collecting on you, it's worrying that ISPs like Comcast, Time Warner, and AT&T are added to the list. And make no mistake, this isn't a US-only problem. ISPs all around the world see the same privacy-invading opportunity.
Yeah, so look, that GRC...
Amazing, it is encrypted, but not from point to point.
But yeah, so the Cloudflare ones do come in, and they pretty much match, if not maybe a little bit slower, just from the test I did tonight or today with this thing right now, and maybe it could be the internet that I'm on that's a little bit slow or whatever. But there's another one that's coming up. I don't know if you've heard of this bloke. Who's his name? But the fastest ones are coming from a place called y.ns.gin.ntt.net. Whatever the hell that is. So they're coming up fast as number 1 and 2, then the Googles. Oh, no, then the Cloudflare, then the Googles. So there you go.
NTT is Nippon Telegraph and Telephone, Japanese company.
Right. So their name servers are pretty fast. Well, their DNS servers are pretty fast. Should change to those. But yeah, if you want to, look, I changed my phone to it. It seems to be going fine. No issues there. I thought I'd just do one device before I maybe did the whole joint. But there's a lot of...
Did you say that the DNS... Sorry, Jason. Did you say that the DNS, with normal DNS servers, like you say, ISPs know they can't see the encrypted traffic with SSL, but they can see the IP address that you visited?
Yeah, your computer will, even if you've got an encrypted connection, if you've typed in pornhub.com, then their server has to say, okay, that IP address is over here.
He's been there. We can't see what content he streamed from there, but we know he's been there. So, but right. Did you say with Cloudflare it hides that?
Yeah, they're trying to hide that sort of thing.
Hide the DNSs as well.
But they're also logging. Yeah, they're also destroying the logs, apparently. Now, there's a lot of tools over at grc.com. There's heaps of tools if you're into these sort of things.
Shields Up.
Yeah, Shields Up. And there's this one here now. He's got the new release for the additional name servers, which is the ones. And he's also got 9.9.9.9. I don't know what that one is. But you can Google that one. We'll find out what
easily confused with Telstra's DNS is there on my router, isn't it?
Well,
10.1.1. Isn't it 10.1.1.1 for a Telstra?
No,
for
not
a Telstra modem?
No, not their DNSs. Mine are like 63.
That's the internal one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, the internal one. Easily confused with your internal one.
Yeah, but this grc.com, if you're into some tools, you want some free tools, there's some Shields Up that'll test your exposure to the internet. And look, there's password cracking or password generating software or whatever, and there's just heaps of stuff there. And look, you know Steve Gibson from his time.
And SpinRite, don't forget SpinRite.
SpinRite's it's one of the better little software things that I've ever bought. It's
what site's that, Glenn? Did you say
grc.com. He's got his show on the Twit network, the Security Now. And he's very knowledgeable. He's very, very...
But 9.9.9.9 is the DNS server that checks connections that you're looking to connect to against the IBM threat database.
Right.
So came out last year. The Global Cyber Alliance has given the world a new free domain name service resolver and advanced it is offering unusually strong security and privacy features. The Quad 9 DNS service at 9.9.9.9 not only turns URIs into IP addresses, but also checks them against IBM X-Force's threat intelligence database. The checks protects against landing on any of the 40 billion evil sites and images X-Force has found to be dangerous.
There you go. Well, on the DNS benchmark I've just downloaded, the 9s are there. They come in, they are a little bit down the list, but I mean, when you're down the list, you're talking milliseconds. So that could be another one worth looking into. Like if you want to maybe protect yourself even more, then you bung that in as your DNS resolver, and that's an interesting one. Well,
Google also says we don't correlate or combine information from our temporary or permanent logs with any personal information you provide to Google for other services if you use 8.8.8.8.
What do you think, or what could you even imagine it'd be the purpose of these companies trying to provide a DNS server for people? Like, is there money in it, or how would they generate money, or how would they? Why?
Cloudflare is all about speeding up and protecting the internet. That's why they've got website protection services against DDoS and things like this. So they could, if there's enough people using their services, they could pinpoint where a DDoS is coming from.
Right.
To block that or something like that.
Yeah, okay. So it can help in other areas and whatnot. Yeah, very interesting.
It kind of just worries me though, using all these external DNS services. I suppose you get on and do your normal website stuff, your banking or whatever, and you've got these external DNS services. I don't know whether that has anything to do with it, but or could make you feel insecure or not. But but then I suppose you got to trust yourself to your ISP's DNS servers, don't you, as well? So.
Well, you can go to that. What's that? What's that? Open DNS. I think that's the other one where you can where they will do some checking as well, don't they? They disallow certain IPs that might have been on a banned list or whatnot. So I think is it just opendns.com or something? OpenDNS. I think that's what it is.
But the DNS is not. Yeah, the DNS is not looking into your data anyway. Really, is it your DNS? It's more about. It's just
getting you,
isn't it?
Yeah, it's just getting you from one place to the other. That's right.
One place to another.
But I guess I don't know, if you're a politician or something, and someone gets hold of your DNS logs and says, "Look, you looked at Pornhub every 5 minutes, for the last 5 weeks."
Especially if you're one of the anti-porn politicians.
Yeah, that's right.
But when you go and you buy a VPN or something like that, people go out and buy VPNs because they want to make themselves more secure and more private. And then you think to yourself, I'd reckon I'd know most people would probably turn their VPN off if they're doing important things. Do you really want your browsing data to be sent over to some other country on the other side of the world?
Yeah, I think if you're doing nothing wrong.
If you're doing banking and you're on your eBay and your PayPal and all those things, do you turn your VPN on that you've bought for privacy, or do you just trust your ISP to?
Shouldn't matter either way because it's encrypted all the way through.
Yeah, and depends where you are. I think like you use.
It's encrypted with a VPN, isn't it?
It's also encrypted if you go into your bank.
Yeah.
Well, your bank. That's right. Your bank site and PayPal and all that.
Most of them these days should be HTTPS, particularly with Let's Encrypt giving out free certificates. All of my sites are encrypted, and I don't have anything on there.
But even Let's Encrypt is not. If you were a bank company, you wouldn't turn around and go and get Let's Encrypt as your SSL.
No, but AussieTechheads.com.au can be encrypted, even though technically there doesn't need to be a reason if it's just the main website you're looking at.
I use Let's Encrypt for a lot of mine too, but I think if I had a store, an online store or something, I'd be wondering whether Let's Encrypt is enough.
They all have the same strength encryption.
They do.
Yeah, yeah. So some
They
people
do, yes, they do.
Yeah, I think there's an article I posted up actually to the Facebook page about free.
But that's what I'm referring to because I read your article.
So there's things with warranties and all this sort of stuff, but you have to be like a fair, decent sized company to worry about a warranty. So it's like if your credit card data got leaked or hacked and stolen, then you've got a bit of warranty provided by the SSL, provided I guess that the hack breached the SSL. But yeah, so there's an article up there about the free versus the paid ones you can have a read of.
It's funny, I was reading an article this week. It wasn't an article, it was probably more of a forum I was stumbled over with Plex, that someone was saying that, is Plex safe for you to share your content with your friends, your home movies and whatever that you want to share with your friends. And people are like, well, it's using SSL or TLS, so it's pretty secure. And then some guy popped up and said, oh, hang on a minute though, but using SSL doesn't block your port. So if you're using the typical Plex port and you're streaming to all your friends, your ISP can't see what you're streaming, but they know that you're streaming from Plex.
Right. Well, you could change your port, and then
you could change your port, but would changing your DNS do the same thing? Like Jason was saying, using a different DNS.
Well, it would if it's encrypted.
It's another key point to stop the ISPs seeing what you're doing.
Yeah, it's encrypted, so it wouldn't.
But on Plex, you should change your port.
Yeah, I don't know.
So it's not a standard port, then they don't know that that's even Plex.
We could even make it port 80 and they'll think you've got a web server there.
All right. Apple can ditch Intel from their Macs in favour of their own chips. I know they're doing it again.
Remember when they ditched PowerPC?
I know.
Didn't they originally not have Intel in there?
No, they had these IBM PowerPC things. And then I think they moved away from them in 2005. They moved to the Intel-based. And remember, there was an uproar, as there should have been, because all people that had a PowerPC was just instantly obsolete. And then all the software was...
Well, they made universal binaries for a while that worked on both platforms. So they got around that for a while until you're like, well, my PowerPC computer is so old, I might as well update.
Yeah, well, I've got one outside there, still works, it's fine, but you can't, all the browsers don't update, so you can't do nothing with it. So anyway, Bloomberg reported the project, which is codenamed Kalamata, will be part of a bigger strategy making Macs, iPhones and iPads work better together. So this is with their own chips. Currently, Apple makes the main processor for the iPhone, iPads, Apple Watches and Apple TVs based on the ARM chip technology. Using its own chips in Macs would let Apple decide on release dates for its new models rather than relying on Intel. Apple makes up 5% of Intel's revenues, according to this Bloomberg report. So imagine that, as big as Apple is. Well, I suppose they're not using the Intel chips on everything, but as big as Apple is, that's just 5% of Intel's revenue. But Apple is bigger than Intel, so I don't know, can't figure that one. Yeah. So the transition that occurred back in 2005 from PowerPC to Intel took about a year, and the Bloomberg report implies a new transition would be longer and require a multi-step transition beginning as early as 2020. So she's coming. Paul Norris, a senior systems engineer for EMEA at IT security firm, is saying Apple is taking advantage of the relationship between operating system and hardware to its OS X-based devices to guarantee strengthened security. Intel has to cater for a number of different types of operating systems and hardware devices, which increases the likelihood of a vulnerability is identified. So it makes sense to me.
Sounds like Microsoft creating their operating system for multiple hardware. Multiple systems.
Yeah, keep it all in-house, and I guess, your product's going to be stronger, isn't it? So,
and you remember where...
But, they're not going to lose that much. Intel is still pretty huge. It's probably overblown a little bit, isn't it?
They'll still have servers and consumers.
Oh, yeah, that's right. But look...
a couple of billion to Intel is not much, I wouldn't think. A few billion to Intel.
Let me go into another... a story here because it just relates to this while we're here. Intel has launched new brand for the 8th generation CPUs. Now, the new Incore platform will promote the bundling of the i5, the i7 and i9 processors with the performance-boosting Optane memory module that they announced about a year ago. So these processors that come with the Optane memory bundled are receiving a modified naming convention. So we're all going to start seeing the i5 Plus, the i7 Plus and the i9 Plus. So the branding also extends to desktop and laptops. So keep an eye out for those. Now, the Optane memory is based on the 3D X-Point non-volatile memory technology developed by Intel and Micron technology that can speed up the performance of hard disk drives. With a 32 gig Optane memory module running on the Core i7, Intel promises speeds of up to 3 times faster for opening large media files, up to 3.9 times faster for loading video games, and up to 2.1 times faster for everyday tasks. So there you go. Now, they're not something you want to go out and buy, because I looked at some of the prices and they're about $1,200 a chip. So,
Yeah, I reckon.
So they'll come down.
Yeah, I reckon.
Yeah, they'll come down.
Give it time.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
Technology only improves with time anyway.
Yeah. Any comments on the Intels? That's pretty straightforward, I think.
I think it's to be expected. Apple wants everything in-house.
That's right, everything.
I wonder they don't make their own graphics cards next.
Including their people.
Yeah.
And their consumers.
Yeah, they make their own trees, don't they? Okay.
Yeah.
Jace, what have you sought out this week to let us know about?
Google announced in a blog post that it now purchases more renewable energy than it consumes as a company. Google began these efforts in 2017 with the goal of purchasing as much renewable energy as it uses across its 13 data centers and all of its office complexes. To be clear, Google is not powering all of its energy consumption with renewable energy. It's matching what it consumes with equal amounts of purchase of renewable energy. For every kilowatt hour of electricity consumed, it buys a kilowatt hour from a wind or solar farm built specifically for Google. The company says now that its total purchase of energy from sources like wind and solar exceeds the amount of electricity used by its operations. Google says it currently has contracts to purchase 3 gigawatts of output from renewable energy projects, and while it says it's not yet possible to power a company of their scale by 100% renewable energy, these purchases do have a positive impact. Google says it's helping spur development of clean energy projects, encouraging other companies to follow suit. Several tech companies have also joined the fight against climate change, including Apple, Amazon, and Microsoft. Apple Park is powered by 100% renewable energy, and Apple has a commitment to bring 4 gigawatts of renewable power online by 2020. Amazon set a long-term goal of 100% renewable energy, and Facebook has as well.
But I wonder, like, when they say that they're powered, by 80 or 100% of this renewable energy, like, is it the actual energy that's, do you think that's created by the wind or from the solar panel that's actually fed in to the Google, or are they still just using the coal-powered electricity, but putting their...
They're offsetting it, with the renewable.
Yes. Yeah, so what I'm sort of trying to get at is they're not actually relying on the renewable energy as such, so therefore, because, like, it's not as stable, so they're still using the coal, but they're saying that it's coming from, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, it's kind of like if you want for your home, some electricity providers say if you pay 20% more, we'll buy some of the energy that our company uses from renewable places.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to say. Something like that.
You're welcome.
All right. Jordan, did you have any stories this week? I know it's been a bit light on, hasn't it? But did you have the...
It has. I just thought after last week you were kind of... I don't know, it was probably not last week, it's probably the last few weeks. Every time I mention the word edge, you guys have a bit of a chuckle. Because I'm always living on the edge. So I found this article here that says why you should switch to Microsoft Edge.
Is that from news.microsoft.com?
Hey?
Is that from news.microsoft.com?
No, not quite. MSN, so it's
why should we?
Yeah, it says if you use Microsoft Edge browser in any capacity, congratulations. You're incredibly rare, so much so that devices like StatCounter don't even have your browser of choice in its top 6 list. Oh. You would think that Edge's market share of 1.86%, according to StatCounter's figures, when it wrote this would be a little higher, given that Microsoft bakes the browser into Windows 10, and it's the only option you have on a brand new untouched version of the OS. But there you go. Nobody's really using Edge except for me. But that didn't stop Microsoft from officially launching a version of the browser for both Android and iOS in November and rolling out support for both iOS and Android tablets this week. Why give Edge a try? It says if you're already wedded to Chrome or Firefox, convincing you to switch to another browser, a Microsoft browser at that, is probably futile, but we'll at least try and lay out reasonable cases as why Edge is interesting. As soon as you fire up Edge, Microsoft asks you to synchronize the app with your existing Microsoft account, a standard browser practice that allows you to then share your favorites and history, passwords, browsing data, and settings between your PC, smartphones, and tablets. That's nothing new. The browser itself has a nice streamlined design with navigation buttons at the bottom, a welcome sight for Safari and Firefox users, and a slight adjustment for Chrome fans. Edge was just as fast as Chrome when we ran Browser Bench's Jetstream test on iOS version of both browsers, and it's actually beat Chrome on the Browser Bench's speedometer test by an increase of around 20%. It feels incredibly responsive to use for mundane tasks like adding and modifying bookmarks and pulling up tabs, and my words are starting to stumble, so you can take over from there, Glenn, if you like.
So I think
so they're just saying that it's quite fast and it's quite effective, but people just aren't using it.
Well, it is.
And don't forget that Aerosmith also thinks you should be living on the edge.
Yes.
Well, if Aerosmith say to use it, well, we got to use it.
Exactly.
Now,
but they do say it's fast. I've always seen people say it's fast, but then I get these RAM problems from time to time where, if you've got too many tabs open, it'll crash out on you.
But that's any browser will do that, I guess. But I think
Chrome would probably do it too if I opened up 50, but Microsoft will do it if I open up 20.
If you're using Windows 10 and you do miss the Internet Explorer, it's still there. You just got to search for it. Hit the start button.
The original Internet Explorer, yeah.
Yes, yeah. Hit the start button.
But that's not receiving updates still, is it, though?
Oh, I think
you wouldn't
so.
call that as secure as Edge, would you?
Oh, I use it. Probably I'd use it before Edge. Just because I think well, look, Edge has probably improved since I last give it a good shot, but things like pages wouldn't load properly, and it just turned me off. I thought, well, what's the point of it? So I just stopped using it. So I use it sometimes. I think a couple of things. Wasn't there a story a couple of weeks ago about Microsoft was going to make something mandatory open up in Edge? I forget what that was now.
It was me. I said that from your email. So if you click on a link in your email, it's going to open Edge.
Yeah. So, but if you're missing the Internet Explorer,
trying to force people to use it. I suppose the more people that use it, then the better reports back they'll get, and probably the better the Edge would get.
But I think, you look at these things like the developer aspect and the ecosystem, I guess. It's like anything, like Apple. They've created their own ecosystem, and Android and that. And so now Chrome, that's maturing, or it's probably matured, and Firefox is matured. They've got their own extension ecosystems, and if you're developing a Chrome extension, you probably develop a Firefox extension, but maybe not yet are you also going the third step and developing it for Edge.
There's plenty of Edge extensions. I've got there's LastPass, and I've even got an internet download manager, ad blockers, and all sorts of things.
Well, I guess as it's coming default, with Windows 10, they're probably the smart cookies. They're obviously developing for it, the big guys. But like little things, little backyard developers, I guess, that just do little rulers, web page ruler or something. Are those things going to filter through to the?
See, with Google Chrome, I don't think I've ever really used any of those extra little extensions. I've only ever really just used whatever. I think most people are probably the same. They probably just used whatever they've been asked to use. Like if you go to a website and you need an extension, or you need the Adobe Reader extension, or you need the Flash extension, or whatever you need, it usually pops up and says, you don't have it, so you got to get it, and away you go.
I've got heaps. I'm just looking at mine now. I've got Evernote. I've got a Todoist. I've got the page ruler. I've got a view image properties. I've got the Google Drive. I've got to subscribe to the feed. I've got a Boomerang. I've got a LastPass. I've got a push pull it. I've got launch YouTube video in always on top for YouTube. I've got a DNS
Since
flusher.
you like them so much, you should try the Android emulator extension.
No, I don't want to go that far.
Well, you wanted to try Android apps inside your computer. You can do them inside Chrome.
That was only a game for the young bloke. Which what was it, the baseball hit or something? But,
I had an app I wanted to use on Windows that just wasn't there anywhere, and I just installed the Android the emulator for Android and then put in the extension on Google and chucked the app in that.
Actually, that's something that they could do, because they want to play this Fortnite. And that's not available anywhere except Xbox One. I think it's just come out to iOS, and they want to play it. But have you guys heard or played Fortnite?
I've heard of it. I haven't played it.
Yeah, it's the next big thing. If the kids are into it, yeah.
That's all I hear about at the moment.
Yeah, right.
That and Far Cry 5. Sorry.
Right. Jace, what else? What's your next story there? You want to get on?
To beat cyber criminals, McAfee suggested in a new report that gamers may be the key candidates for cybersecurity jobs. The Santa Clara, California-based cybersecurity company said it did a survey of 300 senior security managers and 650 security professionals at major corporations, and 78% of respondents said the current generation entering the workforce, those that grew up playing video games, are stronger candidates for cybersecurity roles. The report suggests that gamers, those engaged and immersing in online competitions, may be the next logical step to plugging the skills gap. 92% of respondents believe that gaming afford players experience and skills critical to cybersecurity threat hunting, logic, perseverance, and understanding of how to approach adversaries, and a fresh outlook compared to traditional cybersecurity hires. 3/4 of senior managers said they would consider hiring a gamer even if that person had no specific cybersecurity training or experience. 72% of respondents say hiring experienced video gamers into the IT department seems like a good way to plug the cybersecurity skills gap.
Sounds good to me. I think so. McAfee. That's not
John.
the
crazy loopy John.
Yeah.
Who now apparently, if you give him $150,000, he'll tell everyone that your alternate crypto coin is the best thing since sliced bread, whether it is or not. But he'll tweet all about it and get you a lot of followers and people interested in it for only $150,000.
Is anyone following that guy? He is a bit of a he is a nutbag. I think if you want to have a bit of a laugh, if you're feeling down, go and jump onto his YouTube page. You'll find some stuff that's quite entertaining. Now, through the week, you would have heard there was this shooting at the YouTube headquarters over there in wherever it is, San Francisco somewhere. Now, there's been somewhat of a backlash to Google, because on their Google Maps, they identified as a current event the San Bruno shooting on their Google Maps. So if you were, looking at your maps while this event was going on, it came up, and it sort of disturbed a few people to the point where they took to Twitter. Probably doesn't take much for that to happen. But it says, this article here says that Google took the unusual step to mark the incident on the map service. There was a red circular icon that highlighted the location of the shooting incident, was clickable, but when you clicked it, it pulled up a red sidebar and just read the San Bruno shooting without providing any more details. So this is thought to be the first time Google Maps has done such a thing, and the icon has since been removed. But I read the comments from Twitter, and initially I guess I was thinking, well, is this what we do these days? It's just like so commonplace that it's just on maps, like some sort of carnival ride or something. But then after I was thinking about it, I just thought, well, if you're using maps, you obviously don't know your way around. So would that be a benefit?
You want to know where there's a dangerous event currently happening and get the hell out of there?
That's right. I think, if you looked at, on your phone and it came up and said there's a shooting, well, you're not going to go anywhere near it. So I think that would have a twofold help. That would help you safe and probably help other people safe by you not being in the way. So although it seems a bit cray-cray, I don't know. What do you guys think, Jordan?
It's a good idea to keep people out of the area, If people are going to be around there, or they're like, I was thinking of going into that area later this afternoon, you've you go, oh, there's a crazy gunman. Yeah, maybe I won't. I'll go shopping somewhere else, or it'll cut down on the traffic and stuff because people would know not to go there.
Yeah.
You could even add it into GPS routing systems on computers and say if somebody wants to get from point A to point B and there's a gunman in the center there to route the traffic all around it and keep that area clear. I think that'd be a brilliant idea.
Yeah, so as sort of insensitive as it seems on the surface, I think that it should be an idea that's worth looking into. What do you think, Jordan? Any particular view?
I'm probably with Jace. I don't think it's such a bad idea.
Yeah. Look, yeah, because but you know what Twitter's like, I guess, and there's just a few, you know,
Facebook has now got those report that you're safe things, and if that applied to a gunman in the current area and you report that I'm safe for there, and people know that it's happening, is that any different? You still know it's happening in that area, and it's come from a social network thing, and
it would attract more attention, but I think at the same time, you know, it's going to get attention regardless.
Yeah. I think I'll give it.
It's going to be on the news, so
it's going to be everywhere. You know,
you might as well know where exactly to avoid. I think.
Yeah, if I was walking down the street following Google Maps and I saw that, I'd be.
I wouldn't go
180.
Yeah.
Some people are crazy enough to go there, but yeah.
Well, that's up to them. I'll be out of there.
You know.
Jace, what else did you come across?
Something to be wary of. 4 days ago, Apple's latest Mac OS 10.13.4 update broke a DisplayLink protocol support, perhaps permanently, not sure yet, turning what may be hundreds of thousands of external monitors connected to MacBook displays via DisplayLink into paperweights. Some days in, DisplayLink has yet to announce any solution, and most worryingly, there are indicators this is a permanent change to Mac OS going forward. Mac Rumors is reporting that users of popular Mac desktop extension app Duet Display are being advised not to update to Mac OS 10.13.4 due to critical bugs that prevent the software from communicating with connected iOS devices users extra displays. Users of other desktop extension apps like Air Display and iDisplay are also reporting incompatibility with the latest version of Mac OS.
So what are they saying here? That so the Mac's got a display port on it, you put a display into it, and it doesn't work.
Can happen, yeah.
So, and when because they're saying that this could be a permanent thing. Surely not. Not if there's an actual, you know, port that's in the machine. You'd think that it has to be going to be fixed, wouldn't you? And what
must be because the bug is affecting third-party software. Maybe they're saying it's a problem for third-party software.
They're not paying the Apple tax.
Yeah.
Naughty. Yeah, okay. Well, fair enough. That's what happens. But there must be, well, what else can you do? You could probably Apple TV for another display. But that is pretty inconvenient because a lot of people do take their laptops to meetings or whatever to plug into the meeting room TV or something like that. So that can be a bit of a bummer. So, yeah, watch out for that. What was it? Mac OS 10.13.4 update. So, hold off on that one. Jordan, do you have any more Edge stories?
No. I've got two more stories left. I don't have a lot of great stories. One of them was just it was a funny one. I probably don't even need to read all of it. And the other one was just more on Facebook. We've probably read a lot about Facebook already, have we?
Oh, yeah, it's been, I think, done to death everywhere. Is that about the...
It's just that, that people are freaking out that Facebook Android apps collect and call and text data.
Oh,
but Facebook says it's got permission.
Yeah. Well, that's right. That's the thing.
That's one of them, but I'm pretty sure we've been through that 100 mile an hour, haven't we? So
Will said he really wanted to come on the show this week so he could tell everybody what idiots they are for being upset about that. But since he's not here, he missed out.
How many times, on the Android, especially, I don't know if you guys got Androids. I think I know with me, the apps pop up every time you install one. You got to say yes to permissions. I don't know what it's like with Apple as much because I'm not as familiar with it. I kind of am, but it's been a while. But yeah, you've always got to say yes to permissions, and you can always select all the different permissions.
Well, I was saying that the problem with this is there was a previous permission in about 4 versions of Android back that's not used anymore, and if you agreed to it back then, it held it through even though that particular permission doesn't pop up anymore, so they're getting around it through an old permission that doesn't pop up and say, can we have access to this?
Right. But I guess that's just the world we live in these days, isn't it? I sort of go by the rule of if you wouldn't say it to your mum's face, you don't put it on Facebook.
Yeah, my dad used to always say to me, "Don't ever put on the internet what you don't want people to know."
Yeah, exactly.
My dad used to say, "What's an internet?"
Yeah.
But when they're snooping your call list and your text messages, then that's you not putting it on the internet. That's them stealing it from.
Yes,
from
but
you.
then again,
But you're giving them permission to do it though, which is not cool.
That's right. But then it's as a user base, the user base, we should be saying that's not on and to force the issue. But the user base is never going to get together to do that. So
I don't think people really care, to be honest, a lot these days about their data. I think there's so much of it on there anyway.
Yeah, I guess so. I guess you got to be. Look, you got to be probably famous or do something wrong or whatever for someone to sort of start digging and saying, let's have a look and see what, Jordan's been writing over the last 20 years before he became the Prime Minister.
It's like that actor. What was her name from Hunger Games? What was her name? Can't say her name.
Don't know. What's she doing?
Yeah, from Hunger Games. She was on the Apple Cloud, had all her dirty pictures hacked.
Oh, yes. Yeah, that's
many
right.
years
Katniss Everdeen.
So there you go, and it just goes to prove if you're somebody of caliber, then if you're someone worth hacking,
but
if you're somebody of caliber, you might be worried, but if you're of X caliber, you might get a sword in the stone to come.
Oh, ching ching, yeah. So that's probably.
But and it's the same. I think a lot of people are doing the same thing with clouds. I think they're all starting to realise they want to have their own file servers rather than put it in the cloud because.
Oh, look, I don't know because hacking is different.
Why would a hacker want to hack you when they could hack Microsoft or Apple or?
But hacking is different to them Facebook snooping on your data or whatever.
Oh, Facebook having permission to take your data, but that's kind of the table.
I've got faith in the cloud. You got to have
faith in the cloud.
Yeah, I've got faith in the cloud.
Because you got to have faith to faith to faith.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. He's got faith in the Aussie tech heads. 88.
And talking about faith in the cloud, Jordan, you should have faith because Microsoft has expanded their cloud. The company announced...
It's got a big fat cloud now.
That's right, and it is full of Microsoft Rain. The company announced the launch of 2 new regions in Australia. To deliver these new regions, Azure Australia Central and Central 2 Canberra data centres. So these 2 new ones join the existing 2, one in Sydney and one in Melbourne. So it's throughout its announcement, the company also emphasises that all of its Australia data centres are also the right choice for customers in New Zealand. And I've got a little map for those on YouTube. Want to have a look at where all the little Microsoft data centres are? There they are. And yes, that probably gives them an advantage over some. You might say, why are they in Canberra? Well, I would have a stab and say that they're probably vying for the government contract, probably for cloud services or web services down there.
Well, the government did agree, didn't they?
Oh, possibly. Yes, possibly.
No, there was something I read today.
Right.
Something about keeping government. Microsoft has got the contract to keep the data or something for the government or somebody.
Well, they didn't build 2 in Canberra because they like the Canberra beaches, that's for sure. But they've got a lot of centres around the world, so they've probably got more than probably Amazon, I'd say. And they're having them in Australia. There's a lot of companies, doctors, health agencies or whatever that can't store data overseas. But so this will be the go. Melbourne, Sydney, or Canberra. Now Canberra. Jace.
There you go. Microsoft's Australian cloud gets approved to host protected government data.
Oh, there you go.
That was the article I read the headline for.
At least it's not IBM.
Yeah. We don't need another census debacle or a ATO debacle or a Commonwealth Bank debacle. Or a
my other story.
We haven't mentioned Commonwealth Bank being down the last couple of days, have we?
No, I didn't know. I don't bank with them. What's been going on with them?
Yeah, they've had outages again.
Oh, yeah. What's causing that? Do we know? Don't know.
Computer systems.
The Royal Commission? Something like that?
Yeah.
What's...
We've shut everything down and deleted it.
That's right. Shut it down. Shred it all. Jace, you got one more, I think, by the look of it. What?
Someday in the future, our skies will be full of whirring machines delivering anything we could ever want or need, from medical supplies to pizzas and the latest item from our Amazon overlords. The day is not today. On Monday, Russia's postal service tested a delivery drone in the city of Ulan-Ude in Siberia.
Ooh.
Instead, though, the drone crashed violently into a wall of a nearby building, turning the UAV into a mess of jumbled parts. Russia had announced its plans to start delivering mail via drone. It seems like a smart idea, especially in such a huge country where severe weather often interrupts mail delivery. It was the original plan for Monday's test. The $20,000 drone was supposed to pick up a small package and deliver it to a nearby village. Instead, the device failed spectacularly, only making a short distance before crashing into a 3-story building. A small crowd gathered to watch the test can be heard uttering expletives, according to Reuters. No one was injured in the crash, and it didn't do any damage except to Russia's pride. And if you go to the Futurism website, you can see a lovely video of it flying up in the air, doing a loop and going smash.
Now, what website? Futurism. Let me have a look.
Yeah, the link in the show notes.
Oh, I didn't see that. Where's that? Is that the headline link?
Yeah.
I went there, and all I got was a picture of this. I don't even know what that was. So I don't know what that is.
You sure you went to the right one? The URL should be futurism.com/Russia.
Oh, you might have copied the wrong one.
No, I clicked on it from the show notes.
Oh, okay. Hang on. Oh, here it is. Sorry, I got the wrong one. I got the
the next one.
I got your next one. I'm thinking, what is he on about? This story has got so unrelated pictures in it. I'm thinking, he's off his head. Hang on,
we're professionals, damn it.
That's right. Now, where is it? Oh, here it is. Here it goes. So it's up in the air. Hit the building and smash. There you go. It's like Baseball Boy. It's like the baseball going.
Insurance.
Yeah, bang.
They need to get Elon Musk in here and sort things out. You know, he can land them perfectly.
But drones are all the rage, aren't they? There's drone channels apparently, internet like IPTV channels, drone racing channels. You can search for them and look for them. Now, Jordan, do you have any more or anything else you want to talk about?
I only had just a couple of, probably, I wouldn't want to read the article because it probably gets a bit yuck, but there was just a reminder article saying this is why you should immediately stop taking your phone to the toilet.
Oh, okay. Why?
There's an interesting one.
Germs, filth, and poo?
Yeah, well, I can read a bit of it if you like, I suppose. Taking your phone to the loo with you might seem like a harmless thing to do, but it could end up making you ill, as harmful germs, wait for it, migrate from your poo to your mouth.
Oh, dear.
This is where it gets a bit, but, you know, it's true. That's what they say. And it's and what's worse is it's not just your germs. They are germs from anyone who has sat upon the same porcelain throne, one expert has warned. The bugs inhabit the loo seat, the flush handle, the loo roll holder, and even the door into the cubicle or the bathroom. Mm-hmm. They worm their way into every nook and cranny in the bathroom. So it's just a reminder. Quit taking your phone to the toilet, people.
And another quick Aussie health tip is when you flush the toilets, put the seat down so the little germs just don't float around the air and land on your toothbrush. So that's another little tip.
Toothbrush in the cubicle.
In Mythbusters.
Well, some people have the toilet in the bathroom.
For years we've been taking magazines to the toilet, so I don't know what the problem is now, you know. And then we leave the magazines for other people to read.
And there's a lot more yucky things happen to those magazines than just poo particles.
Well, it does if you run out of toilet paper.
I remember my dad used to say to me as a kid, like every dad would say to every kid, don't put money in your mouth, you know. If you pick up a coin, stop putting the coin in your mouth.
Yeah, don't put
because it's been in so many pockets and so many places you don't know where it's been. But I always think the same thing for touchscreens, you know. How many people, especially public touchscreens, you know, like you going in, I go into Coles or Safeways and use the virtual checkouts. And I think
the ATM.
Or the ATM. You know? you just almost feel like you need to walk away and wash your hands, because how many people have been to the loo and not washed their hands?
That's right. And I think it's
touch the touch screen, and then you touch the touch screen.
yeah,
It's horrible.
the shopping trolley handle. But I think by the time you get home, you forgot about all these things that you've touched, and you just think, oh yeah.
And then you go and make yourself a sandwich because you're hungry.
That's right. But I think you also got to build up your immune. So you go out, touch all the germs you want, get sick for 6 months, and then you're right.
I thought it was funny. Have you seen the comic called Foul Language?
No.
It's this guy's living with his son and daughter and the things that they do and driving him crazy and stuff. And he was like, 364 days of the year. Kids, we do not eat food from the ground, and we don't eat any food that could have been put there by strangers. Easter Day. Okay, everyone, let's go find lots of food off the ground that strangers have put there.
Yes, that's right. But hopefully all wrapped up in nice, not loose, thin packaging. So I think you had one more, Jace, that you wanted to talk about.
For the first time, the US government has publicly acknowledged the existence in Washington of what appear to be rogue devices that foreign spies and criminals could be using to track individual cell phones and intercept calls and messages. The use of what are known as cell phone site simulators by foreign powers has long been a concern, but American intelligence and law enforcement agencies which use such eavesdropping equipment themselves have been silent on the issue until now. In a March 26 letter to Oregon Senator Ron Wyden, the Department of Homeland Security acknowledged that last year it had identified suspected unauthorized cell site simulators in the nation's capital. The agency said it had not yet determined the type of device used or who may have been operating them, nor did it say how many it detected or where. The agency's response, obtained by the Associated Press from Wyden's office, suggests little has been done about such equipment, known popularly as stingrays, after a brand common among US police departments. The Federal Communications Commission, which regulates the nation's airwaves, formed a task force on the subject 4 years ago, but it never produced a report and no longer meets regularly. Yeah,
so that's dodgy, that one, isn't it? That's very dodgy. But I guess these things are out there. Obviously, you just got to.
Well, I always say if you go to one of the hacker conferences, don't use your mobile phone because someone could put it up their own femtel or something else to interpret, reroute your traffic from your phone, and they could listen in all your calls and things.
Yeah, like why anyone would ever want to do that? Only for fun. If I had the technology, I'd do it for fun.
For the lulz.
That's right. Why not? Look what I can do. All right. So is that all you've got, Jordan?
I've just got one little thing that I wanted to just say is that I read an article last week and I was going to mention it, but do you know the Duolingo app?
Yeah,
I know
it's great.
The Duo.
The Duolingo. It's for learning different languages.
Oh, okay. Right.
They have added Klingon to their app.
Right.
Awesome.
That's pretty cool.
So for all you Star Trek fans out there, get on to Duolingo and learn how to speak Klingon.
Yeah, well, that's a good point there, Jace. Let's have a look. Duolingo. Let's have a look and see if we can find.
Apparently, they added Klingon. I'm pretty happy about that. Not that I ever want to learn how to speak it. I get confused just watching the show when they speak it as it is. But
where does it say languages? Is there a spot where it'll go through all the languages? Maybe not. There should be something there somewhere.
Maybe you could just Google Duolingo Klingon.
I'll do that. Klingon. See what happens. Learn Klingon in just 5 minutes a day. Here we go. Yep. Oh, it just takes you to the site. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, bite-sized Klingon lessons, fun, effective, and 100% free. Well, it's not dated, so it must be pretty fair income. How fun is that?
So everyone's going to start running around talking Klingon. I reckon that's fantastic.
Yeah,
that's one for the Trekkies.
Yeah, that's good. You'll see all that in the casual 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day. Insane 20 minutes a day. Geez, you would go insane. All right.
And there's some guy that's an expert Klingon guy who reckons that it's really good. Apparently, that was what the article said.
Cool.
Something.
Good stuff.
That they've got it down.
All right, that brings us to the end of another week's show. So, yes, you can get the show notes at the aussietechheads.com.au /podcast. website if you wish, and all the show notes will be up there probably by the time you are listening to this. Don't forget to watch us on the YouTube and subscribe to the YouTube channel if you can, and leave us a comment or whatever on the iTunes or on the YouTube or Facebook. But easiest way to get in touch with us is probably through facebook.com/Aussie Tech Heads. Make sure you like us, make sure you see us first, and all is good with the world. All right, that hour goes pretty fast, doesn't it, Jordan? That's cool. All right, well, we'll see you next week. Thanks for coming in. And you too, Jace. Thanks for coming in.
Yep.
Thank you.
Next time.
And hopefully you got
Not the time after that, but next time.
That's right, and not the time before this time, because we've already
Well,
seen.
at least
Time
daylight-
after the
at
next
least
one,
daylight
I'm on
savings is-
holidays for a week, so you won't
At
see
least
me.
daylight savings is all over. We're all on the same time now. So that's
You are
good.
on the same time. When are you on holidays?
Week after next.
All right, good stuff. We'll have to bring.
You'll have to get Will to come in and have a chat.
We start too early for Will. Will likes starting at 10 at night because he just loves it. Don't you, Will? All right.
And he falls asleep halfway through, does he? He's always rubbing his eyes and
No,
we're still
doesn't.
going, still talking. No,
he charges on right till the end, even though we might start at 10.
I don't mean he falls asleep halfway through. I just mean he looks like he might want to.
Oh,
have a
right.
bit of a-
Right.
because he's doing it so late.
Yes. All right. So, yes, good luck with another episode of the Aussie Tech Crypto, Jace. That records Monday night, or Tuesday, doesn't it? Or Monday? I don't know.
We've been doing Sunday lately,
Oh, okay. Sundays.
Yeah.
and we
Day
had
off.
the creator of Australia Coin, Jack Hurley, was on for a special interview last week, so that was great.
Nice. Well, make sure you download that one, guys, because that sounds pretty good. And listen to Jack Hurley. Sounds like the surfing dude or something. Yeah. So, all right, that's it. Let's get out of here. So, we'll see you all next week. So, yeah, have a good week. Stay warm. And the Commonwealth Games, they're started on the Gold Coast. So, if you're up on the Goldie and you're going, well done. But if not, watch it on the telly. It's going to be good.
Nice intro. Good intro.
All right. Well, we'll see you next week. Bye, guys. See ya, everyone.
Bye.